We are a big family.
Getting together, talking about how we can learn from each other.
Here, among us, we have leaders and political representatives of all countries of the region and of countries of the EU.
This is a great potential what we have in the room.
So many important people and strong activists that's gathered in Korčula.
I hope we will have a good discussion and good time in Korčula, and welcome once again.
Women are the gender who is able to bring up anti-corruption policies.
We need to define the expectations for the next 10 years.
Thank you sincerely, everyone, for the great solidarity we experienced. We are all together part of Europe. We need each other in this world, maybe even more than ever before.
Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine has fueled the popularity of totalitarianism and totalitarian societies. We must not remain voiceless observers of the war of values.
Serbia is absolutely stuck. We should form a joint chapter and secretariat in order to speak to Brussels with one voice. If there is any right time, the right time is now.
During war and conflict, sexual violence and trafficking in persons increases. If women are not at the table, crimes like rape and gender-based violence will not be considered part of the peace agreement.
We are a region that we produce more history that we can consume. The Western Balkans has these winds of wax, and when we try to fly high, then the EU burns our wings.
Certificate of appreciation from all of us, with the hope that we'll keep on doing it all the time and together.
Around every church, bigger church in Montenegro, you have the brotherhoods. If you ask me, they are paramilitary formations without arms, still without arms. Don't underestimate the primitive pro-Putin's logic, not politics, logic, anti-Western culture in the area of the Western Balkans.
Do we have frozen conflicts in the region? Maybe frozen is the European Union for the time being. It's not about our feelings. Don't give the impression that we have to change the other countries. It has to come from inside.
Still, we don't have idea how to manage this problem with the people who are running from the war. People who are using this situation, that's conservatives. We are producing the best weapon against us. We are losing Europe.
We are all aware that we have to enter the European Union as a group, and that is good, because if we enter country by country the European Union, we will block between ourselves. Many of these processes that you see, including the Bulgarian veto on our countries, there are more than enough evidences that they were inspired by Russia to disrupt the European integration of our country. Let us join you in some aspects so we can advance somehow.
Ja sam članica tela pri NATO-u koji se zove Civil Sector Advisory Panel. Sonja Lokar je članica takođe. Mi se nismo sastali od početka rata u Ukrajini. Mi nismo razgovarali od početka rata u Ukrajini jer niko u NATO-u nije želeo da razgovara o miru sa nama. Svako ko nam kaže da smo u konfliktu, želi da budemo u konfliktu. Jer na njemu profitira.
Sometimes and more often than not, protection is only possible through change. We need to have politics of hope rather than fear. The way forward, is it through the cult of individual or through another collectivization?
Bila sam deo ustavnih promjena kad smo promenili ime. Nadam se da će opet biti deo ustavnih promjena kad budemo, i nadam se da ćemo to uskoro napraviti, promenili ustav, odnosno dodali druge nacionalnosti ustavu. I svi ćemo mi koji ćemo to uraditi platiti političku cenu.
most of the countries, for instance, in the constitution say that they are secular. But in most of the countries, you are actually having religious instruction during class hours, and you're having the cross in the classroom. So we are hostages of the perversion of democracy.
Countries which are now coming closer again to become European Union members should follow international and European minimal standards on workers' rights before even thinking about entering into the EU. The salary of the woman textile worker in North Macedonia for decades was lower than the salary of such worker in China.
The next European election is going to be the toughest European election ever. And I go further what my friend Sonja Lokar said. This is a crisis of social democratic values, and they are attacking social democratic values. They are attacking women's rights, human rights, they are attacking LGBTQ rights. And if we cannot secure our own women, we can go to the hell directly.
Many people did not forget what happened in Cyprus, and that Europe looks away when NATO does something which should be questioned.
Don't be, let's say, too much young in the politics.
Please, dear friends from the region, don't wait for us from inside the EU. You have your own thinkers and brave people. Zoran is here. Radmila is a good example. Tanja Fajon is a good example. So please, maybe take the lead and wake us up. We need it.
Ethno-populist political structures are always able to bring back instability in our region through the narratives of the past. Finland and Sweden developed democratic countries that very often have social democratic governments that have been neutral in their constitution, in their essence for many years, many decades. They are coming to us to ask for support to become members of NATO, and we are already there.
Next year, there's a lot of elections in the region, and the kids born in 2006 will have a right to vote.
We are not so proud to become members of NATO. It's only for our own security interest. We need a new Russia, and that will come.
Ne zaboravite da su lideri Evrope nekoliko godina samo posle Drugog svjetskog rata seli zajedno i postavili neku viziju Evrope. Dakle, nisu čekali 30-50 godina. Jel?
We are losing every month approximately 40 million of euro only because of the exchange from the exports.
We use energy in a way we never used before, and we are using it in an uncontrollable way.
What is the capital city of the Serbians in Banja Luka? Is it Belgrade or is it Sarajevo?
In Bosnia, there are 70,000 Romans. In the census, 11,500 is registered. The others are not able to register. The employment in the Roma community is 1.3%. The literacy is 17%.
Mene jako zabrinjava mi kao socijaldemokrati kako se ponašamo kad smo opozicija, a kako se ponašamo kad dođemo na vlast.
Do no harm.
Enjoy and welcome, and let's have another good day as we did today.
The concept of gender is increasingly being assaulted by the right and the religious, I stress it, religious establishment.
We need to have a bold strategy to create a much larger coalition with trade unions, with civil society, and with other progressive parties, really to counter the new strategy from the right and the hard right.
The left was so systematically divided, we have lost our capacity to appear as leaders.
Mi zakonom, recimo, štitimo platforme od radnika. To je
naša tema. Egzistencija ljudi koja im jamči dostojanstvo i rad.
Gender equality, LGBTIQ rights are also an issue at the next European election. Women should feel that we are the party who are still keeping the best for them.
1/3 of the women in the EU, they work, but they don't have paid works to go to.
People want answers, not prayers. The present situation of thousands of deaths in and around the Mediterranean is unacceptable.
Social democracy must be a popular movement of the working classes. Third way is dead, and we have to go back to our roots as a popular party and leave the elitism to the liberal parties. They also have to have voters.
By building consensus, we have managed to more or less be in power for 100 years in Sweden and then transformed Sweden from one of the most poorer countries in the world to one of the richest.
Počinjemo imati turističko roblje. Znači, ljudi koji rade u turizmu rade u katastrofalnim uvjetima, loše su plaćeni.
Social democrats have to be on the side of peace, not on the side of war. Language, home, neighborhood, culture, family. Actually, it's about nation. We should not leave nation to the nationalists.
What is at stake is the risk of an autocratic, even a totalitarian political system to spread across Europe and beyond. Enlargement has become a political but also a moral imperative. And we need to start with the Western Balkan countries.
Ja jesam zadovoljna brojem žena kada govorim unutar partije, ali nisam zadovoljna stvarnim utjecajem žena na donošenje odluka.
Very often, when we need to say who is the bad guy, we need to look in the mirror. And that hurts. We have to be very wary not to turn the call for peace into a call for inaction.
It's very easy to talk in the opposition, it's very hard to talk in coalition. It's so difficult to put a political message to people that can listen to, 20-second messages.
What we found out during our studies is that women are not only not being employed by employers, but they are not looking for work because they have to take care of children. The main thing they wanted to say is, yes, we need to help women in terms of unpaid care work so they can get employed and contribute even more at home. So that's like, they just can't seem to get out of this type of thinking.
And the way should always be that we listen to what is going on and we try to, with our examples and our experience, try to help the participants ask the right questions and engage with the matter in an active way so that what they learn, they will actually be able to apply in practice.
We are going to develop a special model for Ukrainian people, Ukrainian teachers who are in their country, cannot go out, cannot have he cannot travel to our training initiatives.
Od 92 guvernera banaka u svijetu, njih 8 su žene, a od 89 ministara financija, 11 su samo žene.
If I ask you, what would you do with an extra 300 euros a month, I'm sure you could come up with many ideas. But that also corresponds exactly to the monthly budget for food shopping in countries like France or Belgium. And that also equally corresponds to how much less women would bring back home based on the calculation, of course, of the EU average.
Nas je zapravo zanimalo kako se ponaša rodni jaz u vrijeme krize, u vrijeme epidemije.
Tipično za ove djelatnosti koje su zapravo zahvaćene sa covidom jest da su žene prisutnije u razredima koji su manje plaćeni. Nakon 2020. slijedi lagano rast prema povećanju muških prosječnih plaća.
Naravno, dalje je potrebna posebna promocija i ohrabrivanje devojčica i devojaka za odlučivanje za izbor profesije i ohrabrivanje da izaberu neke od profesija iz STEM nauka, jer i dalje ti jaki rodni stereotipi ih odvraćaju od zanimanja koja su danas najplaćenija.
For Slovenia, people are totally sure that there are no inequalities, that there is no gender pay gap, so this is not really high on the political agenda. Women are more educated, they work full time, they even work after they have kids, but the differences are on a workplace level because women progress slower.
One of the huge contributors to this gender pay gap is, of course, the unpaid labor and the segregation of women into less paid sectors. Half of the women in North Macedonia are unemployed. 75% of this half of the female population in the country says that they are unemployed because they have to care for somebody. I think that one of the key issues is invest in the care sector, invest in education to combat the stereotypes that are present even in kindergartens.
Ograničavanje prava žena koči napredak cijelog društva.